We're back for round 6 or 5? I think 5. Round 5 of reading your hot takes and responding to them. These have been pretty fun, and I collected a bunch from the last few videos. So we've got this one, which is still not the film fiction one. I asked the film fiction people a long time ago if they wanted to do some, and they did some, and theirs are really long. And I still haven't got to those, but I will get to those once I'm done with the YouTube ones. This will be another round of YouTube ones. If yours hasn't made it, either repost it here in the comments in this one, or just direct me back to that one so that I can say, oh, because I still have like another 10 from YouTube that I will be doing in the next video. So these aren't all of them, even this video. But yeah, let's get into it. Pastor Cody Mitchell, who gave a lot, thanks Pastor Cody, said, also, there was absolutely no reason for, I think that says Chrysalis, to stay a villain after the admittedly rushed changeling transformation. I mean, her whole motivation was collecting love to feed her children, but she doesn't have to anymore. So this one is pretty spicy, and I couldn't disagree more. Chrysalis should not have been reformed at all, I don't think. And I think it's because Pastor Cody here completely misunderstood Chrysalis's character. He said the whole motivation was collecting love to feed her children. No, it wasn't. Chrysalis is ultra selfish and just wants what she wants. She wants to feed on love and be strong, and then she wants to take over and rule. And her children were a means to an end for her. That is why when they reformed, she was like, F that. I still want to be evil because I want what I want and I don't care what they want. So to say that she should have reformed is not something that I think should have happened, especially when you consider, as always, Chrysalis is the best villain in Friendship is Magic. There's not a villain that holds a candle to her. Tirek definitely doesn't, Cozy Glow definitely doesn't, and they're like the big three with Chrysalis. Then you have like Sombra, who's kind of goofy because of season 9, and you have like Discord, who was a villain for like 2 minutes. And then the other characters that are kind of like minor villains and garbage, like the Shadow Pony and freaking Storm King. So yeah, no, I definitely say this is a hot take, because a lot of people, there are a few that I've seen that say Chrysalis should have been reformed, but the majority of people, they even the ones who would say that they want Chrysalis to have reformed want her to stay the black bug that she is. And I agree. I don't think she should have reformed, and I don't think that she should have changed. So I'm not really sure if I did this one before, but that's okay. Sourdough GT said, Alicorn Twilight was well written. Her personality wasn't inconsistent, she just had character development. So there's two camps for Alicorn Twilight. The first camp is the people who absolutely hated the idea and quit after she became an Alicorn. And there's the people who kind of were fine with it or liked it and just wrote it out. I am part of the latter, and I think this is pretty chill of a take because most people just got over it and didn't mind Twilight being an Alicorn. She is well written. That I think that the part that wasn't well done was the fact that it was so fast, but Twilight deserved to be an Alicorn at a certain point. And when you consider that Twilight had been under Celestia since she was a child, like a foal when she hatched Spike, it makes even more sense. Yeah, it's she was well written, and it wasn't inconsistent. Her personality wasn't inconsistent. They did have some minor flaws in like season 9 and stuff, but like overall Twilight is the best written, most consistent personality wise. Livy Carter said, this is my hot take. I think Rarity is awful to Sweetie Belle and Spike. Rarity always makes them carry her stuff, and she doesn't even ask them if they need help. So this one kind of skirts the line. There's a lot of people out there who are like, oh, Rarity's so mean to Spike. And like, yeah, she's kind of just like that with men. If you haven't noticed, she takes advantage of men's kindness. Stallion's kindness all the time. It's part of her character of being like a beautiful woman horse. The thing with Sweetie Belle is, yes, she is mean to Sweetie for parts, but then you have episodes like, I don't know the name of it, but it's the one where Sweetie Belle thinks that Rarity sabotaged her birthday, but really Rarity was being kind and trying to keep everyone there. Rarity is really nice to Sweetie Belle. Like, she can be the jerky big sister who just doesn't care sometimes, but when things hit the fan, she's like there for Sweetie Belle. That's pretty much the normal sister dynamic that they try to give everyone except for Apple Bloom and Applejack for some reason. They tried to give that same sister dynamic to frickin' the sisters, and it doesn't make sense because they're douches to each other all the time. But like, I'd say this is kind of down the middle because there are those people. Like, on a previous video, someone said that Rarity was a groomer, and it's like, that's a bit much. Rarity's vilified a lot. She's beaten up in the comics. Like, her character is just smashed by the writers of the comics as well, and it's really annoying. Rarity is a great character. She has a lot of flaws. She is one of the most flawed / moral characters in the entire show, and I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. But I'd say this one kind of skirts the line more so. I think more people are on the side that Rarity's just Rarity as opposed to a big jerk. Leia for Life here has a few, so I'll do them one at a time. Hot takes. Luster Dawn should not be the next ruler of Equestria. Hear me out. She should be Twilight's second student. First is Starlight, in which she grows to teach a type of magic class at the School for Gifted Unicorns or something. Twilight's third student, which will come after 1,000 years, giving Ethereal Twilight more time as Equestria's leader like Celestia and Luna, should be the ruler after her. I'd say this one's pretty fair. I don't think anyone I've ever talked to has said that Luster should have been the next ruler of Equestria. Twilight barely started her reign, and obviously without the silly stupidity that is G5, when we consider how Celestia reigned for 1,000 years, that obviously Twilight should reign for at least 1,000 years or more. If you say that Twilight is superior to Celestia in how she operates, then Twilight's reign should be even longer than that. So yeah, I definitely say no, Luster shouldn't be the next ruler of Equestria. Luna was done awfully wrong in the show. Her and even Celestia could have been more godly mannered throughout the show while still being able to get to know more about them. So this one is a bit more spicy. It's also my perspective. Honestly, but I could talk about this for days. Both Luna and Celestia were done horrendously in canon and in the comics. They should have been more mentor-ish / be able to deal with problems. There's no reason that they had to be super doofy idiots half the time. Like, they just constantly lose. I don't know that either wins ever in any situation. They both lose to Cozy Glow. They both Celestia loses to Chrysalis. They do nothing to Tyrek. Discord does whatever he wants. Chrysalis captures them both somehow off screen. Let's not even say how that happened, but apparently it did. Yeah, the fandom is like, oh, it's because, and they make excuses and stuff, but no, they should. Yeah, Luna got especially written more so dirty because she is written worse than Celestia in that she's written to be wrong all the time, as if that's okay. And it's just, yeah, this is a spicy take as far as like a slightly spicy take as far as the fandom goes, but I agree completely with it. They did the sisters so horrendously. That's the entire point of the video that I made about the sisters. So the School of Friendship and the concepts around it was a very stupid idea. I honestly don't know who thought of that in the writing room. Considering it's pretty much a direct contradiction to Lauren Faust's entire point of Celestia sending Twilight to Ponyville, I'd pretty much say yes, that's a pretty... A lot of people hated the School of Friendship. I agree. It should not have been part of the main series. If they wanted to do a school as the main scenario, it should have been a side story, and even then, only the people that wanted to watch it should have had to watch it. It definitely should not have been part of the main series, but by then they were already running out of ideas. Clearly they didn't really know what else to do, and they weren't hiring writers as good as Lauren Faust, so we were getting writers that didn't care, and they were just like you said, in the writing room. Yeah, they probably were just like, well, school is easy, and somebody was like, school is easy, let's just do a school, and then they did a school. But yeah, I don't really know a lot of people who liked the school. There are a lot of people who will be like, well, the school could have been good, and if we're honest with ourselves and with how bad that was, it could have been something else, but like, Friendship is Magic isn't about school. Like, that's just bleck. Legendary Overfiend said, mine is that Sombra should have been a Spike villain, if not the Spike villain. Not only should he find a lowly child foiling him and being considered a hero to his kingdom to be insulting, but if you go off the comics, you could easily parallel the two characters. They were both children who would grow up to become monsters, but both were instead raised by ponies rather than their own race, which changed them, but one still fell regardless. Okay, this is asking for too much from a kid's cartoon and from Spike and Sombra. Okay, sure, probably. But hey, at least it's something as opposed to the nothing character we ended up getting. Okay, so my first comment would be, you shouldn't say stuff like, this is asking for too much from a kid's cartoon. No, it's not. It's really not. Kids' cartoons are great, especially depending on what you consider kids' cartoons. I consider MLP at least up into season 7 or season 8 to be for teens, because I said it before and I'll say it again. If a 7-year-old started MLP in season 1, they would be like 16 during season 9. So if they expected kids to watch the entire series, it had to have had a 9-year relevance for people watching. Second of all, that would include stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender. Avatar: The Last Airbender is brilliant. The first series is one of the greatest cartoons of all time. And to say, oh, well, to expect this much out of a kid's cartoon? No, that's fair. Second of all, I'd say, I don't really know how to say this as far as if it's... I've never heard anyone comment on Spike. Sombra should have been Spike's villain. But yeah, Sombra should have been anything other than what Sombra was in the show. Sombra being, if they would have done in the canon what they did in the comics for Sombra, it would have been better too, even if they just did that little bit. But yeah, I agree completely with the whole Sombra would have been pissed that Spike foiled his plans. Like, that's not something that you just disregard, and they kind of never really cared about it or anything. But there were a plethora of things they could have done with Sombra better than they did in the canon, and that's like sad, but we should definitely expect that. It just because it's a kids show doesn't mean, oh, just waste your opportunity. You're getting an opportunity to be on TV or be on the internet or be a syndicated show or whatever you want to call it, and you're just throwing it away by saying it's a kids show, who cares? No, that mentality needs to die. Kids shows should be every bit as good as adults shows. They don't have to be as complex, like as oh man, Dexter or like Game of Thrones or like Breaking Bad, but they should be good. And saying this villain should have been more well developed, that's not asking for too much. We got a second one from Livy Carter. It says, I know that this isn't a hot take, but I'm going to say it anyways. Scootaloo's parents are by far the worst characters of the series. Not only do they constantly neglect their daughter, but they were literally going to make her move away from her friend to the most dangerous location in Equestria just so they can work. They made her aunts live with Scootaloo. They could care less about Scootaloo. That should be couldn't care less. The terrible icing on the cake was the writers made those parents the complete opposite of Steve Irwin and Terry Irwin. Well, you are correct, Livy. That is definitely not a hot take. That is an abomination of an episode. It ruined so much for Scootaloo's character. It messed up for being mirrors of Steve and his wife. Its message didn't make sense really. Like, it's just a really bad episode. Some people like it, but again, some people will like anything. There is usually a minority that's like, I like this, because usually, like, people are different. That's all I can say. People are different. But yes, they were awful parents. They were awful. They shouldn't have used real life people, because those people were amazing people, and they didn't do them justice. Just all around really bad. I don't know very many people that enjoyed her parents, or how they acted, or like their thought process. They were like caricatures. They weren't even like real people or characters. They were just like fake people to create drama for an episode. Like, parents, I mean, I'm sure there are parents out there like this, but it doesn't matter. Scootaloo shouldn't have had parents. She should have been an orphan. Like, it's all just, that episode shouldn't exist. So Swifty Pride responded to one of the earlier ones. I want to get back to this one a little bit. It says, thank you for responding to my comment. Let me elaborate a little more on what I said. For what we were given, I do love Bright Mac and Pear Butter. And if all you want is two teenagers being in love for 24 minutes, I don't blame you. That said, we know their relationship is much more than two teenagers being in love. They build a life and have 3 children together. I can't help but feel like the most interesting part of their story happens after the perfect pair ends. Because in the perfect pair, their story is just beginning. How does being estranged from Pear Butter's side of the family affect their relationship? How do they work through the problems that causes? Because in my opinion, seeing Bright Mac support Pear Butter through that would prove his love for her more than anything in the perfect pair. Because as Rarity learns in Rarity Takes Manhattan, it's our hard times when we're not at our best that teach us who our true friends are. Okay, that was more than a little elaboration, but I hope that makes sense. So again, this one isn't a take, but more elaboration on the take prior. If you want to see that take, it's in like the first video I did of these take series. And again, it's not the fact that I think you're really discounting just how interesting that story was. I mean, it's cliche, of course, because what it is it's the story of basically Romeo and Juliet, 2 star-crossed lovers with families that are feuding with each other and their higher-ups, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is that's an interesting story for anybody who doesn't know the story of Romeo and Juliet. Like, anybody who doesn't know Romeo and Juliet, they'd be like, oh, that's a sad story. That's why Romeo and Juliet is so enduring. And the thing is here again, yes, obviously their life is going to be very interesting, but we as fans of MLP know that Pear, or it was always accepted that Pear and Bright were dead. Again, they ruined stuff like with Scootaloo, but we all were like, oh, Applejack must have got that hat from her dad, stuff like that. So we kind of, I think, I'm not going to speak for we, I'm going to speak for myself. I wanted to just see Pear and Bright be happy. I wanted them to have happiness. I wanted them to not have to go through, like, that's already a tragedy, right? They died early, and their parents or their kids have to get along without them. That's already devastating. So to have if you already don't have the understanding that Pear and Bright love each other from their children, and especially like Granny Smith talking about him and stuff like that, that's like, I think then the disservice you're doing to the writers who made that special, it's a disservice. I understand wanting more of them, and again, it would have, I don't even know if it would have been nice, because I feel like they're mysterious enough to be like, I like them a lot, but they're also elaborated on enough to be like, Pear is a beautifully awesome, smart mare, and Bright is a very, 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 very funny, hardworking dad. Like, I feel like they did a great job with them, and I don't know. I don't really feel like we had to get more. You can ruin things by putting too much, like they did with Scootaloo, where they were like, here are her parents, and it's like, we didn't need parents for her. She was already this tough child who was getting by without her parents, and then they were like, oh, here are her parents, and they tried to make it complex by having her parents be douchebags, and it's like, we didn't need this. You tried to explain it more, and it ruined what we had. And I think that they did just the right amount with Pear and Bright. For the last one today, we have a multi-parter with a lot of multi-parts. Mania and Chaos said, my hot takes. Discord is an amazing character because he is so chaotic and misguided. So that one is going to start off being incredibly tame. That is not hot at all. Discord is one of the most popular characters in the series, I think, and I don't think many people absolutely outright hate him. My personal take on Discord is I liked him better when he was a villain, and I think he was done a huge disservice in season 9 when they made him be freaking, I don't know what that dumb idiot's name, the blue goat thing, Grogar. When they made him be Grogar, a lot of people were mad about that, and that sucks. They shouldn't have done that. They lied about Grogar being the villain. Like, that's the only part where I think people really got mad at Discord, but it's the writers for being stupid morons. But yeah, he's a really popular character. People like him. Winter Wrap Up, the song is mediocre. It's not as good as the later song. Even some of Pinky's earlier songs are better. It feels way too repetitive and basic. This does come down to music taste though. So this take is pretty spicy. I'd say it's pretty bad too. I don't think it comes down to like musical tastes, because you could obviously have different tastes in music anyways. Like, how do I explain it that it's not down to taste? Obviously, you wouldn't listen to Winter Wrap Up when, like, you're around people or, like, at certain points. I don't think there are any songs, unless you're, like, a crazy person, which I'm sure a lot of people are. I don't think there are any songs that should be listened to in all situations. Like, I don't think if you're laying down in bed, you should be listening to, like, Cannibal Corpse or, like, Meshuggah or Slayer. And I know there are people that do that, but, like, obviously there are relaxing songs and there are songs that you listen to get pumped and stuff like that. Winter Wrap Up is basically a, like, theatrical song. It is like a musical song. And it does exactly what it's supposed to do in the episode Winter Wrap Up to explain what everyone is supposed to do and how they're supposed to do it. If you understand how, like, musical theater works and, like, how you're supposed to structure a song in a musical, Winter Wrap Up is perfect. This is probably the same type of person who would say, like, Awesome As I Want to Be is a good song. And that's fine. Like what you want. But, yeah. Winter Wrap Up also spawned so many good remixes. Like, off the top of my head, you have, like, Living Tombstones. Like, there are so many good ones. So, like, yeah, this is a spicy take. I don't know a lot of people. I mean, like, Winter Wrap Up is not by any means the best song in the entire series, but to say it's mediocre for the entire purpose of it and why it was created, it does its job expertly well, and it's like one of the most perfectly put into an episode songs of the entire series. Cozy Glow should have been redeemed and joined the Student 6 as the Sunset Starlight of the group. Again, this one is pretty spicy. Why? Why should Cozy Glow have been the Sunset Starlight of the group or been redeemed? She didn't do anything to warrant being redeemed, and she didn't express any sense of wanting to be redeemed or even, like, hesitancy of doing evil. Like, so, like, Chrysalis, right? In the scene where Starlight talks to her, she looks like she's considering it. So I could understand some people being like, oh, she should have been redeemed because she looks like maybe she considered redemption. Cozy Glow never showed that. Am I forgetting some scene where Cozy Glow was like, I feel bad about what I did? No, Cozy Glow never felt bad as far as I remember, and she only wanted what she wanted. Why do people think villains shouldn't be villains, especially when the show is already running low on villains and has converted, like, several of them into being a good guy? It's like, that's not how real life works, people. Sometimes people are bad and they won't be good and they want to be bad. I think this
I think earlier in this one is the one where they said Chrysalis, I think it was Pastor Cody or whatever, said Chrysalis should have been redeemed. No, she shouldn't. Why? She wanted to be bad. There are people that, I mean, I'm fine if you're like, Chrysalis should have been removed from the show after not being good, fine. Yeah, but she wanted to be bad. And that's what a villain is most of the time. I am evil and I want to be evil and I'm going to be evil. So no, again, this is a spicy take. I don't know anyone who said Cozy Glow should have... Like, I know there are the writers out there who are like, Flurry Heart should work on Cozy Glow, and then Cozy Glow should be redeemed. And it's like, yeah, so Cozy hasn't done anything that deserves redemption. Somebody should work on her. But, like, to be like, Cozy Glow should have gotten redeemed is like, okay. They said the Storm King should have come back to the show with the other bad guys and taken Sombra's place because Sombra deserved a spot in the finale. Okay, see, these are hot takes and they're like really bad. The Storm King should have come back? No, he shouldn't have. The Storm King, like, he got turned to stone and broken into pieces. Like, the Storm King sucked. Like, I don't know anyone who's like, oh man, the Storm King was a really good villain. Like, I can understand Sombra deserving a spot in the finale, except no, he shouldn't have. Sombra shouldn't have even been in the last season. They were just doing whatever they could as writers because the writers in season 9 were literal garbage and they were just like, let's do nostalgia. How long had Sombra not been in the show? Since, like, what, season 3? I think if I'm off the top of my head, I think season 3. Was it even maybe season 2? I don't... It might have been even season 2. So I checked, it was season 3, and he's mentioned in passing in season 5, and, like, the whole stupid, like, Starlight alternate, like, he's not even, who cares, he's, like, not even part of the reality that is the reality anymore, and he's mentioned in passing in season 6 and season 7. Sombra is literally, like, in the canon, used atrociously. He did not need to return in season 9, because they ruined him somehow even more by giving him his goofy-ass voice and making him sound stupid, and being way less threatening, and, like, to say that the Storm King should be back is just, oh my god, the Storm King shouldn't have existed ever. Tempest was a fine villain, but, like, they wanted Tempest to be redeemed, so they couldn't make her the main villain, so they made the Storm King the main villain, and the Storm King sucked. Ugh, no, Storm King should just be piles of rock now. He shouldn't have even been in the movie to begin with.
The new Changeling designs are fugly. I don't even have to do that one real quick. I'll just say I don't know many people who comment on the new Changeling designs. I know a lot of people preferred the old ones, but I don't think really many people cared about the new ones. The normal version of the Smile song was ruined by Smile HD. When I listen to the Smile song by itself, the singer has so much joy in her voice. You can hear the sincerity in her tone, but then this remix with gore visuals ruins all the effort. When people think of the Smile song, they think of Smile HD now, and it's sad. I'm not really sure how to rate this one. I'd say if you were stupid enough to watch Smile HD, you deserve what came to you. I've never seen it. I've seen the initial starts of it. I heard about it, and it was enough for me to be like, why would I watch this? Why would you watch and ruin it for yourself? Smile is still, like, one of the best songs in the show, and the people who watched the HD version are stupid, and they shouldn't have watched it. You guys ruined it for yourself, and that's your own fault. You shouldn't give attention to stuff like that. Gore, freaking porn shouldn't be even viewed when it comes to MLP, and giving it views like that and you guys watching it is what perpetuates stuff like that. Pinkamena was so dumb, and the fandom made it some sort of multiple personality disorder thing, which put people with the disorder in a negative light. What? I don't really, this is spicy because most people like Pinkamena. Yeah, it's bad for the, it's kind of bad because of the stupid idiot people that are like, she's a crazy murderer and cupcakes and stupid crap like that. But there's always going to be stupid people, and if you don't feed them, then they'll go away. Unfortunately, the majority of people fed them, and they did not go away, and then we got more stupid crap like Smile HD. But I've never heard anyone say anything bad or derogatory or hurtful towards somebody with split personality disorder or multiple personality disorder or anything like that because of Pinkie Pie. This is
wild. I don't know anybody who's like, yeah, there's a pink pony in MLP and it made people with split personality or multiple personality disorder, it vilified them. That's just silly and dumb. Rainbow Dash's parents sucked. They didn't respect her boundaries at all, but the lesson of the episode where they show up is just for Rainbow to get over it. So essentially there are two camps here, the children and the adults. Most adults are going to view this as dumb, because it is. Any grown-up person or not child or not stunted adult that has stunted growth is going to see that the parents of Rainbow Dash were just encouraging their child and love her and want to make her the best that they can make her be. And children who are like, my parents are overbearing. Your parents had you. Your parents created you when they had sex. They are the ones who, well, your mother or whoever, I mean, I guess you could have like orphans if you want to, but I'm not getting into that. I'm saying like biologically. They had you and they love you, and either that or they hate you. And if they hate you, then yeah, you have every right to hate them. But if they love you and like Rainbow Dash's parents and just want to encourage you and just want to see you succeed, there is nothing wrong with that. Mostly children have this mentality, oh man, Rainbow Dash's parents were overbearing. Yeah, you're kind of a douchebag if if you're like, oh man, my parents are too positive with me. They're too encouraging. That's just really dumb. The first Heartswarming episode was pretty good. I think all the MLP Christmas episodes are great. Seeing the origins of the holiday was awesome. This is pretty tame. Most people like the Christmas episodes. I haven't seen too many people that dislike them. I am one of the ones that dislike them, but most people like them. The Cutie Mark Crusaders in the later seasons were way too annoying. They yelled too much and most of their later songs weren't good. This one is kind of just weird. They yell too much? Like, in the episodes? I know there's like an early episode where Sweetie Belle is screaming her song in the Hush Now Quiet song. Hush Now Quiet. Like, what do you mean they yelled too much? Like, did you count the number of times that they yelled and were like, this is too many yells? I mean, finding the CMC annoying at any point is kind of like par for the course. People either love them or like don't like them at all. There's one commenter I have that constantly is bashing Apple Bloom, and it's really funny because I don't really care about Apple Bloom. I think she's a fine character, but I think it's funny that one person really dislikes Apple Bloom. But yeah, the pillars should have been kept out of the show. This is as tame can be. There are a lot of people that like the pillars, but a lot of people don't like the pillars, and a lot of people especially did not like that they brought them into the present day. That's not a very hot take. It's pretty middling. Spike is such a funny character when he isn't the main character of the episode. Spike is overhated. This is another pretty standard one for whiny Spike fans. Most whiny Spike fans are like, oh man, he was abused and Spike is so sad and they should have used him more and I want dragons in my Little Pony show. This is a regular take. There are a lot of Spike fans that are just whiny about the state of Spike and all of that crap. Later seasons of MLP is way less for kids, and it's so unfortunate. People watching the show complained about the lessons being said out loud. However, this is a kids show and some kids need the lessons said out loud for them. This is another, what? People watching the show complained about the lessons being said out loud? Who? I think in all of the years that I've been an MLP fan, I've never heard someone say, man, I'm assuming you mean her Dear Princess Celestia letters? I've never heard anyone complain about the Dear Princess Celestia letters. In fact, a lot of people I've heard say it sucks that they took out Dear Princess Celestia letters at some point. I don't know what you even mean by it way less for kids. At what point do you think it was way less for kids? The show pretty much stayed consistently the same, and a lot of people are unhappy that it did not go into more darker adult themes as the fan base should have aged with it, like Harry Potter. I don't know. Like the last season was just as goofy as the first season. Yeah, this isn't even a take that I can rate because it's like It just seems fundamentally wrong in too many areas. It wasn't for kids in season 9. Yes, it was. People complained about them saying the things out loud. When? Who complained about that? Who was like, oh man, you guys put lessons into your show and you shouldn't put lessons into your show. And yeah, this is just a weird one. And finally, Fluttershy had development in the series. She slowly overcomes different fears, and in the first season she even spoke quieter. This one is pretty tame as well. There are some people, and they're not wrong, they say a lot of lessons are recycled, and that's especially true with like Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, I'd say. There are a lot of standing up for yourself lessons for Fluttershy, and there are a lot of learning to be humble messages for Rainbow Dash, and they kind of do recycle those over the series, but again, it's because different writers, and the different writers don't care. The newer ones aren't going to watch the episodes from the beginning, and they're just going to get cliff notes, and then they're going to go like, oh, well, we can make this episode, and then they just make the episode. But anybody who watches the show and isn't like I don't know what, I'll just not be a jerk. Anyone who watches the show and pays attention, Fluttershy, yes, she clearly is not the same character in season 1 that she is in season 9. She obviously did grow and change, and like anybody with eyes can see that. And that's it. I think I have one more round of YouTube takes, and then I will have the FimFiction takes after that. Thanks for watching. This video got really long. I didn't expect it to. I was trying to keep it under 30 minutes. Hopefully we'll see you on the next one. If you want to leave more in the comments, more hot takes or cold takes or any takes for me to do in these videos, drop them in the comments, and we'll see you next time.